Well, buddy, it's finally here. It's finally time for the Rings of Power. So many rings, so much power, and I don't know, man. I'm growing kind of exhausted of the endless. Like, it's fun to speculate about whether or not a show is going to be good or bad. Fine, but I feel like for months now, I've heard people on both sides telling me this is going to be the worst thing ever. It's going to destroy J.R.R. Tolkien's world, and Lord of the Rings is doomed forever. And then I have people on the other side, they go, it's the most majestic fantasy epic. They're spending millions upon millions of dollars to entertain the world. Look, okay, you can make a couple little predictions about a show, but for the most part, don't gotta wait for it to come out. You'll see on my channel, I mostly wait. Okay, I'll give a little bit of opinion. I'll say this looks bad. Okay, but you know, I can't know for sure until I actually see it. Well, here's what's going on is that people have seen it. The reviews are coming in. And the answer is I have no idea because everybody's saying something different. Nobody can agree on whether or not this is a good or a bad show. That being said, I am noticing kind of a general consensus, and that's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about the critic reaction to Lord of the Rings of Power, which comes out on Friday. And then hopefully when the show actually comes out, I'll give you my response. But right now, we got to rely on the critics. Don't forget to subscribe to me. I don't have access. I'm not Access Media. They don't let me go to the screenings. I'm just a boy. I'm just a poor little wooden boy. They don't give me nothing. All right, so here we are on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, I never know what to do with this. Sometimes Rotten Tomatoes, I want to think that professional critics are good at their job. But, you know, famously, The Last Jedi, I always got to remember that every critic on Earth told us, what was its actual score? The Last Jedi. Every critic on Earth told us The Last Jedi, 91%. That being said, and as I've explained to people, I think this was an outlier. I think this was... Well, then again, isn't Rings of Power an outlier? I was going to say, Star Wars is a franchise that I think, like, an average movie critic comes along, they're not that familiar with Star Wars. They go, yeah, I don't know, it seems cool, 91%, tried something new, and they don't understand how it breaks all the rules of the universe. Well, is that going to be the case with Rings of Power, where maybe people who don't know a lot about Lord of the Rings are going to say, yeah, this is good, and then people who are really into the lore are going to say, no, you critics, you don't understand. The hobbits can't do that. Elves can't double jump. This is a whole thing. Now, I don't know. It said there was 60 reviews. I'm not seeing them here on the site. Maybe they're having a little bit of an error. But it is an 85%. So at the very least, we know that most critics like it. Most! Not all. And honestly, most of the reviews I'm seeing, I haven't seen a lot of universal praise. I will give you this one from The Guardian. I think this lady just friggin' loved it. Who wrote this one? Rebecca Nicholson loves this show. She says, The Rings of Power is so astounding, it makes House of the Dragon look amateur. House of the Dragon, of course, being the new Game of Thrones show. She's saying, it looks like amateur hour compared to House of the Dragon. Well, first of all, is that a fair comparison? I don't think House of the Dragon costs even a quarter of what they're spending on. Again, it's rumored that they spent about $1 billion on a show about elves and dragons. I don't know why they spent so much money. And we're also being told this could make or break Amazon Studios, that if this show fails, that Amazon is just going to stop trying to make movies and TV shows. I don't know how that could be true. They have some hits. I'm watching Invincible. I'm watching The Boys. I can't imagine they would throw that all away, but maybe they're going to stop with the big productions. It is a huge monetary risk. I don't know why you would invest that much money in this. But I guess if you think you're going to get a franchise, or you're going to sell toys and board games and whatever till the end of time, maybe it's worth your money. Okay. Lord of the Rings is divisive, not least depending on whether you watch it on a big TV or squinted at splendor on a phone or a laptop. But it is so rich and gorgeous that it is easy to spend the first episode simply gawping. Should this be gawking? At the landscapes as it swoops and swooshes between the lands of elves and dwarves, humans and Harfoots. Harfoots is famously how they've gotten around the idea, because they want to have hobbits, but they can't have hobbits, because the whole point of Lord of the Rings was that was the first time hobbits had ever gotten involved in one of these, whatever you want to call it, situations. Normally hobbits are like, leave us out of it, we got no time for it. But Harfoots are basically... You know, they're hobbits. Let's be real. And now they can go, well, see, we didn't break that rule. The hobbits didn't interfere. The Harfoots did. Okay. Now, It's so cinematic and grand, it makes my House of the Dragon look as if it has been cobbled together on Minecraft. Oh my god. And then we see some stuff. We learn that Gadriel, commander of the Northern armies, is hunting Morgoth's lieutenant Sauron. And that seems to be what the show is about, is that Sauron, Gadriel, the beautiful blonde elf lady, believes Sauron is out there hiding and is hunting for him across the lands of Middle-earth. I don't know what the dwarves are doing. I don't know. Oh, here we go. The dwarves show up in the second episode, and that's when this world starts feeling fleshed out and worth jumping into. I do have a couple of small reservations, she adds. And this is important. On occasion, there's a whiff of smell the fart acting, which is perhaps hard to avoid when every other line is a poker-faced aphorism such as, man, do British people just use words I don't use? Aphorism. Such as, a dog may bark at the moon, but he cannot bring it down. So I've been told that there's a lot of cliched writing. That it's kind of dumb, kind of hitting you over the head with, like, lines you've probably heard in shows before, in movies before, cliches like that. The pace is also a little too all or nothing. That's what I've also heard, is that it kind of jumps between all these different groups, the elves, the Harfoots, the dwarves, and it's kind of hard to make sense of it, because, like, one character might travel, like, 100, miles to get to the next location, while the other people spend, like, 2 episodes just, like, walking in circles in the forest. So the travel is a problem. That's something Game of Thrones has always suffered from as well. People who critique Game of Thrones, they go, how does that guy get from this part of the earth to this part of the earth? It takes him like 2 days. And these guys have been traveling. Fucking what's-her-name has been trying to bring that Lannister guy to King's Landing. It is the whole season she's been doing that. So that's always a problem with writing, is figuring out the timing. Anyway, this lady loves it. Here's a guy who does not love it. Christopher Stevens for the Daily Mail. I gotta say this about Christopher Stevens. I gotta love a guy who goes, you know what? I'm going whole hog. I hate this fucking show. I hate all the fans. I hate all of you people. I don't know if he hates the fans, but he clearly is just like, this is pure flippin' trash. As he says, no turkey, however bloated and stupid, could ever be big enough to convey the mesmerizing awfulness of Amazon's billion-dollar Tolkien epic. Wow. I do have to agree with him on this. Whenever I hear that a company is spending $1 billion on a project, that doesn't make me feel good about it, because that makes me think that it's going to be so run by committee that there's going to be no chance for any sort of freedom or creativity. That it's like, no, we're spending $1 billion on this. We have to do it perfectly, by the book. Don't try anything new. Don't try anything interesting. Just pack it full of cliches and things we already know people like, and let's make the CG as splashy as possible. I'm not excited about things that cost a lot of money. I usually find that good stories and creativity sometimes come from the poor people. From the indie filmmakers who are just putting together something on a shoestring budget and the power of the heart. 1 out of 5 stars, our good friend Christopher Stevens gives this show. He says, this is a disaster dragon, plucked, spatchcocked. I gotta stop reading British news, because I don't know what any of this shit means. Spatchcocked with a tanker load of Poxo stuffed up its fundament, roasted and served with soggy sprouts. I do love their wordplay, the British. It is so staggeringly bad, it's hilarious. Everything about it is ill-judged to a spectacular extreme. The cliche-laden script. Even the positive review agreed with him here. The dire acting, the leaden pace. Again, similar critiques to the lady who said she loved it. The sheer inconsistency and confusion as it lurches between styles. Where do we start? So basically, she loves it, he hates it, but they both seem to have very similar critiques. And the biggest critique is that the script is just like, it's dumb. It's a dumb script. It's very simple, simplistic, cliched writing with a bunch of, and then a bunch of, action scenes. Here he talks about Gadriel, cartwheels and whirls her enchanted sword before dispatching the giant fiend with a bloodless blow. It's highly stylized like a Japanese manga cartoon. I could like that. That could be cool if there's any weight behind it. But sometimes when they try to translate that splashy action from the world of anime into live action, it just kind of looks like crap. I don't know if you guys ever saw the Ghost in the Shell movie. Not good. Yeah, he says it's just a whole bunch of nonsense, disconnected styles, a static scene in which elves journey by ship, with each actor stuck in the silver armor. That looks cool, but then all of a sudden you flash over to the hobbits jumping around and having crazy, like, there's no, it seems like there's no overarching thematic style, that like the scenes and the different characters feel disconnected. Then again, these critics only saw the first 2 episodes. Maybe, I hate talking about TV that way. I hate going, well, maybe the first 2 episodes are bad, but, you know, it kind of comes together in the end. Some shows do get better with time and find out where they're going, and it is always troublesome with the show when you're trying to establish all the different factions and all the different places and locales and characters. But once that's out of the way, sometimes that's when you get a great show. Sometimes just the establishing everything is going to be clumsy and clunky, but once that's gone, you know who your characters are, you know who you're following, that's when the show really comes onto its own. So we're going to have to wait and see. But ultimately, what I'm getting out of these different responses, ultimately, the thing that worries me the most is just hearing that it's going to be a very cliched, stupid script, you know, kind of a lot of what we've seen before. But, as I said, also, I think that's why it might make a ton of money. Because we've seen how Marvel has kind of just been doing the same thing over and over. They make the same scripts, have some of the same jokes, some of the same thematic arcs. It's always, you know, a hero and they learn a lesson and they go from being like oh, I'm kind of a bad boy to, no, I actually care about people, you know, and they've done that a million times and it makes them billions of dollars. So it's possible that the audiences have just gotten so stupid that, you know, playing it safe and having a cliched, stupid script packed full of mind-numbing action, maybe that's how you make money these days. Ultimately, what we got to do, though, is we got to wait. I urge you. I know there's some of you out there, and I know you, and I see you, and I've argued with you, and you've said, I already know it's bad. I already know it's bad. I know it's woke, you've told me. You don't know it's woke. And none of the articles, let's be clear, none of the articles are saying it's woke. That's not what the real critics are talking about, because that's not a real criticism. Okay? We got to wait. We got to see. Are the characters good? Okay? Does it look good? Is it well shot? Is the writing good? Is the dialogue good? Okay? And ultimately, as always, don't just take a critic's word for it. You should wait and you should watch it yourself. I got a lot of people that are going, don't even hate watch it, because then they're going to, no, watch it. If you're interested in it, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you should at least give it a chance. I'm going to give it a chance. But I do have a lot of reservations. I just think modern Hollywood just sucks at writing. I don't think it's a question of wokeism or whatever else. I just think they're terrible writers. So we'll see if these guys manage to make something interesting. To me, I don't know. Nothing about this really excites me. It looks cool. I don't know. But I would ultimately rather be watching Game of Thrones, which I think kind of has some smart writing, deals with some more interesting themes. I haven't watched House of the Dragon yet. I need to make time for it. Well, guys, what do you think? Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Who do you trust? Do you trust the critics who say they like it? Do you trust the critics who say they hate it? Or do you trust no critics at all and you're going to make up your mind for yourself? I think that's the best way to do it. But you can read I'm not saying don't ever read a critic. Sometimes critics can give you some insight, but I think ultimately you got to make up your own mind. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Head on over to superkiller.org. Sign up for the mailing list for my comic book. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers to the mailing list. And those of you who sign up, you're going to get a little bonus when the Kickstarter campaign goes live. This comic's going to be good, baby. You're going to love it. Anyway, I got to wait till Friday. I'm waiting. Oh God, it's going to suck, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's good. We'll see.